everyone. How was that? Pretty good, right? Well, let's bring them out. Got director Lorcan Finnegan, actor Julian McMahon, writer Thomas Martin, and of course, Mr. Nicolas Cage. While we're waiting, I just want to remind everyone that there's going to be a QR code, not this QR code, there's going to be ones you can vote for the film for the Audience Award, so make sure you scan that and vote for the film. I guess we can get started with the question of like, how did this project come about? Like, what was the origin story, and how did you all get involved?
Well, me and Tom met in 2012 at the Tribeca Film Festival. We both had shorts there. And we kind of stayed in touch. Yeah, and it turned out he lived around the corner from me in Dublin. We didn't know each other, but then we kind of started hanging out and we planned on doing something together. It just took ages. And then Tom sent me an outline for this story called The Surfer. And yeah, me and Tom, you can explain the rest.
Yeah, I was in Australia a few years ago working on another film, and I surf a bit, and Australia was where I first encountered serious localism, you know? And I was surfing on a beach near Sydney, and I saw two guys getting into a very extreme fight, you know? But what was interesting was watching them in the car park. Up there, they seemed like they might have been dentists or lawyers or something. But down on the beach, on the shore, it was a state of nature. And I wanted to do a single location kind of film, you know? And there's all these little beaches down there, and it just felt like the perfect location for an expansive exterior space, but that could be contained in one location. And then I was reading about localism and Lunada Bay and places like that in California that have fairly extreme sort of surf gangs, but they're not gangsters, they're quite affluent communities and stuff. So I was thinking about that a lot, and I was reading like John Cheever, the swimmer, and Robert Drew, who's an amazing Australian writer, right?
Ballard as well.
And J.G. Ballard, The Concrete Island, so these were all feeding into it. And I thought I'd kind of make an exploitation movie inspired by John Cheever's The Swimmer with some Robert Drew, and I thought Lorcan is the man who might understand this. And I said, can we make an exploitation film like that? And he said, of course, yes we can. And we went from there.
Oh, it's a hell of an elevator pitch, isn't it? So what about from a casting perspective? Like, how did you get involved with this project, and you know, what were your first thoughts on reading the script? I guess?
Well, the first thing I thought was, wow, this is the kind of short story I might write. Connected to it on that level, I would want to write a story like this. And then, of course, I remembered Burt Lancaster in the Swimmer, and then I read John Cheever's The Swimmer, which is a beautiful short story. And I thought it was just unlike any other script I've been reading recently. I thought it was very brave, and I like movies that aren't afraid to get a little surreal, and this one sure did. And then I was familiar with Lorcan's movie, Vivarium, and I thought, well, this could be a good match, and that's how I got involved.
Yeah. How about yourself, Julian?
A little bit different. I knew he was in it, so that was a big draw for me. I'd seen a couple of Lorcan's movies, and that was another big draw for me. And then the character itself, you know, once I read the script, it was pretty kind of obvious that you had an opportunity to play something we'd never seen before. Lorcan and I had a lot of great discussions about what we wanted to do with him, and that's kind of how it worked out.
He is a real piece of work. I can agree on that. So I'd love to throw questions open to the audience. So if anyone has a question, just raise a hand. You're the first one I saw, so let's go here.
Especially struck by the color palette, blues and the yellows and the reds. Talk about that and how that influenced other decisions.
Yeah, the question was about the color palette in the film and how it influenced your early decisions.
Yeah, I mean, the story, like the script and the story had this intense heat that was building during the kind of Christmas period in Australia, which is like the reverse of here, you know. So it was always needed to be kind of hot and sweaty, and wanted to find a location that would also kind of match the staging of the story. surfed all up and down Western Australia and found this amazing beach in Yallingup, and it kind of had its own palette to begin with. You know, the turquoise water and the blue skies and the bush, and it has sort of an aggressive nature around it. And so then building on top of that using reds and greens and oranges, burnt oranges and yellows, and also using hard light and sweat as well instead of a lot of diffusion. And yeah, flies like your sweat. the glycerin was like one of my favorites.
I just want to go on record with something. Can I go on record with something? As whacked out as it sounds, Eat the Rat is my ode to Billy Wilder. I had just watched his movie Sabrina, and there's a marvelous scene where Humphrey Bogart says to his uncle, he takes all of that in a martini glass, and he goes, "Eat it." And I could not stop laughing. He puts it in his mouth, and I thought, okay, so he gave me this rat, and there's a very uncomfortable scene where I'm thinking about consuming that, and then I just, for some reason, I don't know why exactly, I just stuffed it in my pocket, thinking, you know what, maybe I can use this later. And then sure enough, when I got with Alex, wonderful as Pitbull, I got down to the beach, and I knew then that I would homage Billy Wilder. It wasn't an olive, it was a rat. I said, eat it. So Eat the Rat is my punk rock homage.
You're the art department, they're like, can we have the rat back? You're like, no, I need it.
Yeah, the prop department kept trying to take the rat from him. Like, what is Nick doing? He's sticking out of his pocket, the tail. Why he doesn't want to let go of the rat? I had my reasons for it, and I had my reasons.
Worked out, man.
So you didn't take the rat as a souvenir after the shoot?
No, I didn't.
Weirdly, the rat disappeared. It was supposed to go back to Odd Studios, and yeah, it vanished. Somebody has it.
It's in an archive in the Smithsonian.
No rats were harmed.
No. Of course not, no.
So I want to make sure that this corner gets taken care of. So yeah, with the things.
So I was wondering, either one of the actors here, do you feel like it's possible to act like you're on psychedelics when you've never actually done psychedelics?
The question was, do you think it's possible to... That's a loaded question.
You want to take that one, Julian?
The question was, do you think it's possible to act on psychedelics when you've never taken psychedelics?
I feel like that's a trick question. Well, being someone that's never taken psychedelics, I asked some friends of mine who had, and they gave me great explanations of what I should and shouldn't be doing. No, those scenes were great though, because Lorcan gave us this ability to kind of just be as creative as we wanted to be. We did this huge kind of rig thing, camera kind of tied to our bodies, and we're jumping around and we did hundreds of different ideas and thoughts. Only a few of them made the movie and whatever else, but there was no need to know, what it was like.
I knew enough. I knew first-hand experience.
As long as he knows, that's all that matters.
If you drink enough tequila, it's pretty psychedelic.
It can get psychedelic.
Yeah, let's have a look. Is anyone at the back has a question? Let's see. Yeah, with the white shirt on. Yeah.
Nick and Lorcan, usually after I watch either of your movies, I say, what the fuck?
Good.
Was there anything about this script or project or character for either of you that made you say, what the fuck? Or something even on set, in a good way?
I think I honestly, after I had to go to that very demeaning place where I'm slurping up water on the asphalt, I actually did stand up and look at our man Lorcan and say, what the fuck?
I had to remind you that it was your idea. About 6 months before, like, there can be cigarette butts in the puddle.
I didn't add the garbage, I didn't add the cigarettes, I didn't add well, let's talk about it. Different memories.
It's a collaboration.
Yeah.
Let's see some more hands. Let's go down here. Yeah, with the Yes, I don't know this one.
So for actors and director alike, it seems like a very like new horror kind of thing. What was like the comedic relief while filming for actors and director alike?
The question was, what was the comedic relief while filming for that?
I mean, it's in the movie, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are some pretty marvelously funny moments, I think, and we were laughing all the time.
Yeah, even when I was reading the script, I was laughing at just all the stuff, this bad shit happening to this guy, and it just keeps on piling up. It's just kind of funny and cruel, but also funny.
You should see the stuff that he didn't put in the movie. I mean, I actually had one scene, I was listening to a lot of House of Pain, and when all the young hooligans were tormenting me, I started going, jump around, jump around. Yeah, I'm Irish, yeah, because I'm Irish, and it didn't make the cut.
It will resurface.
Couldn't afford the song, but anyway.
It was pretty amazing.
Okay, let's see. Let's go here with the black jacket again.
As a filmmaker and as an actor, all of you, I feel like there's a lot of messages and there's a lot of ways people can perceive the movie or their take on the movie. It's kind of open-ended. So what is your hope that the audience takes away from the story?
The question is, what do you hope the audience takes away from the story?
I don't mind. You can take what you want. I mean, there's all sorts of things that I was interested in while making the film, and approaching it from a certain place, thinking about where Nick's character is through the story in a kind of weird limbo space, and there's all the themes around like masculinity and crisis and rebirth, and there's kind of religious themes as well because it's taking place at Christmas and he's sort of being reborn and finding what it is that he needs versus what it is that he wants. That it's not the materialistic thing of owning the house and fix the things. He just needs to get serving for his son, with his son. So there's all those elements. But I think it is one of those movies that like different people can interpret it different ways. I really like that sort of when there's a little bit of ambiguity.
We did talk a lot about, how to torture a character like this in the theatre of the cruelty, but leading to a sort of a catharsis, because it's sort of a Jungian journey, into hell, and he has to sort of, look at his shadow self, and deal with his demons. So Nick, we talked a lot about, the hopefulness at the end. I think you can put a character through anything if at the end it feels like they've really looked at themselves and learned something, and I feel that there's hope at the end for him and his son, and dealing with the pain, seeing his shadow self, dealing with his father, all that stuff, and sort of moving on.
For me, I don't want to impinge on how you received the movie. I want it to be your own personal, secret connection. But the thoughts that were going through my mind, what was important to me as I was working on it, I never wanted to explain why he didn't leave. I didn't want to explain why he needed that surfboard. I want to keep it enigmatic. I think the character, for me, is more heroic by virtue of the fact that he simply wants his board back. No explanation necessary. And that he is not going to leave. I was looking at the mantra. Sometimes I think about, if you scratch the surface long enough of any man, any woman, you will eventually reach the inner caveman. And I wanted to put that on camera. I also wanted to put, you see it all the time. People think it's far-fetched, but you see these gangs and these young kids, they lose their families. They just want to belong. They want to belong to something, anything, and feel like they're wanted, included. And sometimes horrible things happen as a result of that need, that desperate need to be a part of a club or a family. So all those things were going through my mind. I thought this was a brave script because it wasn't afraid to look at it, and it wasn't afraid to, it wouldn't pull punches, and some of it is painful and it's hard to watch, but I think that ultimately there is a heart here in the middle of this movie that resonates with the boy, and that they are together, finally.
So there's time just one more question, so straight up, yes, with the black shirt.
I love the swimmer of the story and the movie, and I'm curious what elements of that do you feel most inspired from this movie?
The question was, what elements of the swimmer, both the short story and the film, most inspired the surfer?
Well, some of it visually inspired it, the use of crazy long lenses and going right into faces and using the colors as well, the kind of tan And like the actors were all tanned every day, like insanely tanned.
Burt Lancaster was trying to get that life back, and horribly at the end you see he's pounding on a door in the rain and it doesn't exist, and he still thinks he's successful, he still thinks he has this family, and the same thing is happening to the surfer. He doesn't want to lose his family, and he still thinks he can get that house and get his childhood back and rekindle what was lost, and it's going into the realm like the swimmer of madness.
Right up there on Clifftop Drive.
Yeah, I did that right from Lancaster, right up there on Clifftop Drive. So I used to swim in that pool.
Well, I'm sorry to say we do have to wrap this up. I just want to say that I love this movie, and on the big screen it's incredible, and with an audience it's even better. So thank you so much for making this.